Welcome to another TMG interview. My name is Paul Preston, talking about movies with those who make them. Today we welcome back our returning champion, one of them, responsible for the hit Christmas movie A Holiday Boyfriend, going back to that most wonderful time of the year for a story that's different than that one. And she does a lot. She writes, she produces, she directs, and she stars. And joining her today is a co-star in the film. So the film is Sleigh Ride, coming soon to all manner of streaming services. And in studio we have Olivia Dunkley and Mitch Shira, everybody. Thank you. They're clapping wherever they're listening or watching. They're clapping. We will be both audio and video, so you've dressed nice. So hopefully if you're listening, go tune in and see these lovely people who've decided to dress up for my garage. Anyway, Olivia, I'll give you just the basics description of the film, then you let me know the details. You've jumped genres, obviously, from romance to slasher horror, and this movie checks the boxes. There's a killer on the loose. There's a family in peril. Will they stop the Kris Kringle Killer? That is what you want in a tense horror thriller in terms of setup, right? We got this and that, and these are the things you know from a horror slasher. But, again, give us the details of what else we need to know about Sleigh Ride.
Basically, the Kris Kringle Killer has escaped from his asylum. He is out to punish the naughty. He has...
Not the way Santa does, by you get coal.
Yeah, not the way
You get coal
Santa
upside the head or something, yeah.
And he has a very specific naughty on his list, and Hollywoods is the last name on his list. He has saved her especially for Christmas Eve.
I like what you did there, Hollywoods.
Yeah, Hollywoods. Honestly, that was my co-writer's idea. I chose Holly for the Christmas. And
right. We'll get to that in a second.
Woods for the last name, which I thought was fun.
And we have, for me, the killer grew up in the house.
Yes.
Where Holly currently lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's come back to set, his mother was murdered on Christmas Eve by his father when he was little, and he's come back to make it right in his own mind. He's still going to murder her. He associates Holly with his mother. And he's come to murder her, but he wants to make it nicer. He wants there to not be so much blood this time. Everybody else who just slits their throat, leaves them underneath the Christmas tree.
11 other murders,
yes,
right?
11 other murders.
That also not lost on the 12th day,
yes,
right?
the 12
Very
days
nice.
of Christmas.
Very nice.
Yes.
But, so did all the other people live in the house?
No.
No, so he got a little selective for fun, and now he's circling around for business.
He's been waiting for the right person to be the right type of naughty to live in his house so that he can go and correct in his own mind, his past.
And I would like to say, come for the horror, stay for the wild ending, which I won't give away except to say it is wild. No, the swing, the big swing at the end is great, and the final two scenes have huge reveals, resolves, and are very satisfying. So,
and can I just say,
please.
That's why I made the film. So the whole movie came about because I was having lunch with my friend, Robert Griffith, who was the original idea for the story and who has recently passed away.
So he's like a co-writer of the film? We were talking about Robert beforehand.
Yeah.
That is such a shame.
We have collaborated on so many projects, and we've been friends for such a long time, and then it was very tragic for me to have him die right before our film was released. I'm so mad at him. Anyway, it's okay. Everything's fine. But we were at lunch, and he just, he told me this really quick. He says, I have an idea for a holiday horror film, and it's a short film. And he told me the storyline, and I was like, we're going to make that movie. And he's like, well, it's just a short film. And I was like, not when I get done with it. So it was the ending that hooked me.
I will fill it with a lot of action sequences, and we'll get to that too.
Lots of fun.
So let's talk about some. The character's name is Holly. Your son's name is Bo. The detective's last name is Donner. In a rom-com, this would be adorable. But did you want to build a rom-com world and then pull the rug out from under it? What was your plan there?
It's really interesting. I wanted to create kind of a whole. I wanted the Christmas theme to be really present in the film, and so I had a whole list of things that I wanted, along with everything having a Christmas-themed name. I wanted my killer to speak almost in Christmas songs, right? Like that he
does. Okay, you're right.
He's got this really whimsical, I saw him very much like the Joker from Batman. Like I had, a very Joker-esque feel to him. That's kind of crazy back and forth. And then...
Yeah, you're not going to rationalize with a guy who's just going, you better watch out.
That's right. That's exactly right. Doing. That's exactly right.
So let's talk about that character, Mitch.
All right.
In A Holiday Boyfriend, your co-star Olivia was Matt Merchant. I knew how you guys met. I may assume it was at the same place where we met, which was working at Universal Studios Hollywood in one of the live event shows. So I saw that from the beginning. So this movie comes out, and now you're in it. And who is this guy? I thought Olivia met all the people in her movies when I knew her, but no, it's true. Not true. So how did you come about the project?
Well, I was on another project actually with Eamon and Eric, and it was a very
that's the AD and DP.
Yes.
Oh, I want to talk about the DP. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we were filming this other film, an independent film, and I was just they randomly called me up and were like, "Hey, come over. Do you want to die in this scene? It's a really quick scene." And I was like, "Sure." And went and did it. And then Eric came up and talked to me, and he was like, "Hey, you should audition for a Santa killer." And I was like, that's so random. I don't even know where this came from. I literally just get shot and die. And he was like, here's my friend's contact info. You should audition for this Santa killer. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. I haven't really, I trained in theater, so I wanted to do more film. And so I'd never met Olivia.
No. And he did not text me.
Okay.
He did not contact me and be like, hey, I heard you're doing a movie. And I contacted him, so I got his information from Eric. And I contacted him, and I was like, hey, can you send me an audition tape? And he was like, yeah, I'll send you one. And then he didn't. And I was like...
Your one job as an actor, Mitch.
Yes.
I was like, hey, are you going to audition? Are you going to send me a tape? Because I was having so much trouble finding actors in Utah.
And that's where you shot, right?
Yeah, that's where we shot. It was in Utah. Yes, it was.
Although I just did a beautiful tour of those national parks along the southern end of Utah a year ago now. But oh my God, that was just unbelievable. Yeah, beautiful. But you go north. I've been to Park City too, and I know it's rough.
Yeah, yeah, it can be.
Yeah, lots of snow.
So anyway, finally.
But you were used to it because clearly you were from there.
Yes, yes.
And school there, University of Utah?
Right? Yes.
Is that the Utes?
No. What
are you?
Utah State University. So clear up north, even colder.
That's not the Utes.
It's not the Utes. It's the Aggies.
The Aggies?
The Aggies, yes.
Aren't there other Aggies out there?
Aggies, I think Texas A&M,
Tech, right? Or A&M, yeah.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, there's more Aggies out there.
Don't know movies, don't know sports.
Exactly, thank you.
More Aggies out there in Utah. Utah State are the only Aggies, so proud Aggies. But
you had, so first film?
Yes.
Really? I mean,
first film
of major consequence.
And that's why it took me so long, because I was like, I don't know if I can pull off a Psycho Santa. And I was in between. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know. I was scared out of my mind. I was embarrassed if I didn't do it the right way. I was like really in my head. So it took me a bit, honestly. I was like, okay, gotta do this, put on my big boy boots and just put something out there. And if she likes what she sees, she'll let me know.
And it was obvious that he was the right person.
To your credit, there was no way to do this. And now that I saw the way you did it, that seems like the way you do this.
Yes. Yeah.
In retrospect, that's kind of how it works. Right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you watch Johnny Depp play Captain Jack Sparrow, and you're like, "That's not how you do that." And then you see it, and you go, "No, that's how you do it."
That's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I auditioned, and she let me know. She asked for one more. She was like, "Can you do another scene? Let me see. You basically have it, but I want to see your." My mind just went blank. I want to see a little more from you. And you gave me another scene, and I did that scene as well. And then once I started to understand Kris, I was like, okay, this would be a damn fun role to play, because I was just too in my head about it. So.
And if you're, go ahead.
Go ahead. And then I offered him the role, and I said to him, but first, you have to read the script, because there is a lot of action in this script, and you are going to have to do a lot of your own stunts, and I want to make sure you're comfortable with that. And Mitch was comfortable with that. Mitch was like, we were like, Mitch, don't do that. And then we were like, okay, well, if you're going to do it like that, then great. Like, I mean, it was,
I guess you don't know what you're
so crazy.
You don't know what you're comfortable with until you give it a go.
Yeah.
He was all in.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
So, first film before this, you did Utah Shakespeare Fest.
I did.
Worth pointing out, 'cause one of the great festivals in the country for Shakespeare.
Yes, it was amazing.
Alabama, Utah, probably the two biggest, maybe.
Yeah, and learned a ton. I felt it was my first and only year. I want to go back, but it was amazing. I rubbed shoulders with some of the greatest actors I've ever met. Felt really honored to be on stage with them and learned a ton. So
no Santa Claus Killer in the Shakespeare.
No. I pitched that and they shot it down. They were like, "Don't do it. No, that's not Shakespeare. What are you thinking?"
Well, you never know. He could have come in like,
could have.
Forsooth, what sayest thou, Holly? For I am here to slay thee. And you'd be like, oh no, what have we done? Who did we hire?
I want you to know that when I wrote this
Glad
character,
you could shift, make that shift.
Yes, thank you.
I thought I was being so original because I don't watch a lot of horror films. They scare me. I'm scared of scary movies. So then I don't watch a lot of horror. So then I'm writing this and I'm thinking I'm so creative. And then I come to realize I am not creative at all. It was very depressing. But
every year I say, I don't know if this is a big year for horror movies. And by the end of the year, it's a big year. Like every year is a big year for horror movies. You pick the right genre. They're always big. I mean, Blumhouse is just killing it every year with just hit after hit. Not spending a lot. Long Legs was great. I think the two scariest movies I've ever seen, Alien and Poltergeist.
Ooh.
Now, you wouldn't say Alien is a horror movie, but Alien Romulus is a horror movie as much as Alien was a horror movie.
Yeah, I would say it's a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, Alien Romulus is a nice blend of the first and second of the it's action and it's. We'll explain this later.
Yeah. Let me know because I haven't seen either of these films.
I've gone in a nerd world with Mitch, but Alien is just creepy. I still get creeped out by it. Even when I played the Xbox game when it came out, I was like, this is a horror game. This is not an adventure game. And the first time I saw that movie was on TV with commercials. When I was very young, and I was like,
Me too.
My parents' bed. I'm like, that's it.
My parents didn't. I think I snuck out, and I was like, what is everyone watching? And then I was like, oh, there's an alien trapped in people's belly.
Oh, I think I would have never slept again.
Maybe I haven't. Maybe that's why this role was perfect for me.
Perfect for you.
Everybody just needed sleep. That's the chaotic, insane person you see. Is just a guy who really needs.
He's just really sleep deprived.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite horror movie, Olivia? Do you even?
Okay, so then I like horror films like What Lies Beneath. Did you ever see What Lies Beneath?
Yeah.
I've seen Harrison Ford.
That's like
right here is where a podcast called The Ford Fiesta happens. And we watch every Harrison. He's my favorite actor of all time.
So
I have seen What Lies Beneath.
Yes.
So I remember sitting in the theater with a girlfriend of mine, and like both of us literally screaming as we're hugging, the bathtub thing. Anyway.
Oh yeah, and great turn for him, not being the straight up hero. He's such a good guy.
I know.
Those movies.
It was refreshing.
Yeah. And you, favorite horror movie?
That's tough because it depends on the genre. Because I used to,
but see, I
used to love M. Night Shyamalan, and then he went way off. When I was a young teenager, I was like, okay, I love Sixth Sense, I love Unbreakable. Signs is where it started to teeter, and then after that, I was just like,
But he's come back.
He has,
big time.
He has come back, and I watched. A lot of people didn't like The Watchers. I actually liked it.
Oh, that's his daughter? Is that his daughter? He produced it, but it's
I haven't seen the newest one. The newest, isn't that the one?
Well, he directed Trap. But I think he produced the one that is either his son or daughter. Maybe.
The one that just came out with his daughter singing. I haven't seen that. That's about the psychopath that's kept in the audience or whatever.
Yeah, he's in a big
The
arena.
Watchers is more. You get trapped in the woods, and it's all the mystery. You're like, what the hell's going on? And so it's that M. Night Shyamalan. But it didn't get. I was surprised after I watched it in theaters. I was like, that was pretty good. I'm impressed. And then I looked at the reviews, and I was like, oh, apparently people didn't like it.
I give points to The Visit and Split. I mean, his and what it was is he went. Good. We got with Blumhouse and they said, let's knock off the After Earth and Last Airbender budgets, make these things $10 million, and you'll be a huge hit again. And so even if his movies make $50 million, five times your budget.
Yeah.
Throw in
Yeah.
the marketing, and you're still making $30 million.
Yeah.
It's the wisest thing that Blumhouse is a genius for that. So
yeah, and then other than, I don't know if you call, because M. Night Shyamalan's like horror, but also more suspense. He always has the twist that it's like kind of a So I would say Hereditary is one of them that I was like, okay, that kept me on the edge of my seat, and kind of had nightmares as an adult.
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah. But I will say the scariest movie of all time is Jaws.
Oh.
Because people don't swim for 50 years because of Jaws.
I would agree.
As brilliant as that movie is in all its different ways, like J.J. Abrams gave a great TED Talk once about the scene in Jaws after Brody's had a real bad day at the beach, and he sits down with his family, and his hands are folded at the table, and he looks at his son, who folds his hands, and then he moves his hands, and they play a little mirror game, sticks his tongue out and the whole thing, and it's just like, Brody needed that, after this rough day, and J.J. Abrams said, that's what you should be copying in Jaws. Not, okay, killer shark, now let's make a killer bees movie, a killer alligator movie, a killer whatever movie. So it's all those other things that make the movie great, too. But it's this horror element that just put that movie.
I agree.
I mean, you don't swim. People go in pools and are like, nah. It's like, it's chlorinated. But still, this is a lake, but.
Same with Psycho. I think people didn't take showers for years.
In a strange place, right?
They're like, no, not going to take a shower in this motel.
So, anyway, so back to Sleigh Ride. We don't want to go too far from that because I want to shout out some of the other cast members involved besides Mitch. Brian Krause.
Yes.
Right? So he, you know him. If you've ever watched Charmed, he was in like almost 150 episodes of that show. How does he come aboard the project?
So, do you want the long version of the story?
If it's interesting, of course.
So I offered the role to Kevin Sorbo.
I'm already bored. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. We're old friends.
I send in this. We are.
Okay.
I send in this offer letter to his agents, and they come back and they're like, we need more money. And I said, okay, so I can do this much more. And they're like, we need we need more money. We need more money. We need more money. And I went back and forth with his agents forever. And I was like, look, you guys, there isn't any more money. And so I finally said, this is what I've got. And they offered it to Kevin, and he said no. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I threw an offer letter to a couple other like big name actors, and nobody, was
Harrison Ford.
Okay, well, I'm not.
You probably don't want to talk about what you offered, but can you mention the budget of the film in total?
This is how the budgets of my films work. I say I'm going to shoot it for this much, and then if you double it, that's how much the film costs.
Of course,
from beginning to end.
That is not an unusual story, but yeah.
So that is actually how it works. So I said I was going to shoot this film for 50, and it ended up being $100,000. So it was a hefty investment, but not. No, I think
for
a movie,
average
it's
indie
not crazy.
like 80 for that's not like a Blumhouse indie or a IFC indie or something. About 80, so you're in the ballpark.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm off throwing it around, and I'm not getting any responses, and I'm just kind of getting discouraged. And I went to a job, and I'm riding in my car, and I pull up and I park, and I suddenly go, well, maybe Brian Krause would do it. And I worked with Brian Krause's ex-girlfriend on, what's that show I do, that web series? On Sounder West, on Super 7.
Okay. With Jerry.
With Jerry.
Yeah.
Yes, with
Jerry
Jerry.
Kokich.
So I worked with Brian Krause's ex-girlfriend on Super 7. She came in and she played a character. And anyway, I met Brian one time. And I was like, I follow him on Instagram. I'm just going to message him. So I message him on Instagram, and I'm like, hey, Brian, how are you? Like, we're best friends, right? Like, how are you? And I haven't seen you in a long time, and I'm a friend of this person's. I'm not going to say
that wench, we broke up. Click. You're lucky. You're lucky.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, and I'm shooting this film, and it's this many days for this much money. Was it something that you'd be interested in? And he writes back, and he is so friendly. He's just like, hey, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in forever. And I know he doesn't remember me, right? But he's just so friendly. It was so great. And he's like, yeah, send me the script, and let's see if there's something we can do. So I send him the script, and he was just like, yeah, I can do this. And then he was wonderful.
And I'm so bummed I didn't get to meet him.
Oh my gosh, he was
that's
so
right.
All the
wonderful.
He's kind of
days.
always deterred from
all the filming days we had, and then
Yeah.
and I was like, I want to meet him.
His character keeps getting distracted.
Yeah,
Never quite gets to the killer.
trying to keep.
And the other cops do, and that's
I
not
know,
good for them. Yeah.
It's not good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he came on, and he was so easy to work with, and his requirements were basically zero. He just was in holding with everybody else, and same makeup artist as everybody else. And
Well, that's good. I mean,
he was just, hit his marks and found his light and knew his lines and was so friendly. And I would work with him on any and every film. If he would come back, I would just invite him for everyone. He was a godsend because
50, 60 episodes, All My Children, I think, too, he was on.
Yeah.
So
Really?
He's been around. Yeah,
yeah,
he's done a
he's
lot.
been around.
Wow.
He's
Yeah.
it's really interesting because I told my sales rep, my mentor, she's kind of does everything. She said to me, who did you get for your lead in the film? Because I told her who I was trying to get, and she said, I said, well, I got Brian Krause.
Mitch Shira. Oh,
Me.
Yes, well, really, it is Mitch Shira.
No.
But she knew what I was doing.
Right,
You
right.
do that thing where you have them shoot
Yeah,
for so many days, and then anyway, so she said he shows really well because he's in the top 5,000 on IMDb. Like he's a really, he's up there, really highly ranked. Anyway, so he was delightful, and it was just perfect.
I got to check my star meter now. I haven't done that in a long time. I wonder where I
Yeah,
am.
he's.
I wonder what 300,000 and what, I wonder. And also, blinking you miss him, but shout out to the great Fernando J. Huerta, who's in a brief scene as a prisoner.
Yes.
I love me some Jay. He, if you don't know Jay Huerta, he's made like 400 films. The guy's insane. He's made literally that many short films. He just cranks them out like a machine. He's unbelievable.
I didn't know
And
that.
of course, he does stunts a lot. Did he work on stunts in the film at all, or did he just come in as an actor?
He didn't know. He just came in as an actor. Jay and I worked together also on Super 7 and Sandra West, and so that's where we met.
you go.
So
That
we
makes
have done stunts together, Jay and I. But he was Robert Griffith's idea. He was like, "Let's have Jay do it," and I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea." So
Yeah, he's doing a lot of the mocap stuff. He's doing stunts that end up in video game action sequences.
Oh, that's
nice.
cool.
So he does all the kicking and punching, but he's got balls all over him. You know what I mean.
Yep. Oh, I know.
And also an uncredited cameo from Matt Merchant. So, ladies, if you loved him in Holiday Boyfriend, keep your eyes open. I won't say where he's at, but keep your eyes open. And the cast is littered with Dunkley. So cheap labor.
free
Free labor.
free
There you
labor.
go.
Free labor. So 3 of my brothers they play policemen. And it was really interesting because we brought Brian in, and then I had all my amateur brothers. Not one of them is an actor. They all do other things. And so on set, it was a little glaringly obvious that Brian was so, he was so good and so
Present,
poised and so,
yeah.
And then my brothers were so... giving it their
Trying.
best, and
Trying.
I was like, ooh, this could be bad. Like, I just hadn't thought about like having the best actor on the set work with the, Anyway, I feel like in the film, through the magic of the medium, it all kind of came out good enough. Like it all came out where they looked, not so glaringly.
Go ahead. Shout out to your editors.
Yeah. Shout out to the editors.
Well, give me some
honestly.
names,
It
because the
worked out
behind the
great.
scenes folks always need shout out. Who were your editors?
Tess. I don't even know her last name. I just know her as Tess.
You just said Tess so many times. Tess, can we do this? Tess, can we do that?
Yeah. So that's my editor.
That's where the magic happens, is the editing.
She also edited A Holiday Boyfriend.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, she's done
If it
both
ain't
my
broke.
films. Yeah. So, but yeah, brothers, they love to come and play, and they're free, and I love to have them there. It's really fun to have the emotional support, I guess.
They all live up there where you shot. So, any
Yeah.
challenges with the cold up there? You were in a warm Santa suit. Most
I
of the time.
was. I felt great. I mean, I think the most cold I got was the last scene out running in the forest. That was when I was like, oh, it's getting kind of cold. But it never got to the point where I was like, okay, this is way too cold and I can't do this under these circumstances. It honestly was still fun. It just, that's the scene where I was like, it's starting to get cold. It's starting to get cold, rolling in the mud and the snow. And but it was still such a blast to do it. It was like, I'm cold, but hit me again and I'll fall into the mud.
Yes, and you did. You
and I did,
so
and it was fun.
You don't have the big ski chalet machine that just puts snow all over the place. You're dealing with what's real out there. So
real
it's going to be there or not
and
be there, and you got continuity to contend with.
Let me tell you, it snowed on us every day. The most snow that Utah has seen in 20 years. We had
nuts. Driving up there was nuts.
Snow, like mountains of snow. And
you didn't film at the bottom of a mountain?
And then, well, my brother, so we shot at my brother's house. I moved my brother and his family out in with his in-laws.
He's got a nice place. But
and we all moved into his house and we shot there and we lived there.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all living in his house. And he'd call me up and he'd be like, Olivia, can you go out and shovel the driveway? And I was like, no. I mean, I've never shoveled I'm like,
for who?
Sure.
We need it for the movie.
I have no idea how. And then he and his kids would come from their in-laws' house down the street and come shovel their own driveway so that we wouldn't drive. Because if you drive on the snow, then it packs it down. It becomes ice. And then you can't come up you can't drive up the driveway. And we have all these people coming later my brother would come shovel his own driveway. He's not even living there at the house. I was like, I've never shoveled snow in my life. My husband to get out the snowblower and try to do it. Anyway, we were useless for that. But we had snow and snow and snow. And then we would go down to downtown Ogden and there would be no snow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how can there be no snow here? Like, we're getting dumped on. So it's like they run off into the snow and it's like snowing like a blizzard and there's all this snow. And then in the next scene, there's no snow. And you have this, you do that thing where you do B-roll and the clouds float away from the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's not snowing. And now there's no snow suddenly, but somehow it all works out. Anyway, as an indie filmmaker, what can you do? You're just like, okay, light it up. Let's shoot it.
Yeah.
Because here we are, and what else can we do?
That was never jarring, so that's good.
Good.
But, I didn't know behind the scenes, though, if it was like a pain in the ass. Sounds like occasionally.
It was a pain in the ass. Yes.
So while we shouted out the editor, shout out the DP, Eric Pasternak.
Eric Pasternak.
Yeah.
So I just want to say,
Good-looking film.
Eric Pasternak did his homework. He really had a specific idea and design for how he wanted it lit, how he wanted the colors. There were specific colors that he wanted his cameraman to all hit for everything, and he designed it so beautifully that when he got COVID 4 days in and quit,
Oh no,
his
That was fun.
second was able to pick it right up and knew exactly what to do. I mean, it was so funny because I had two, I had Eric and then I had Ryan Race. And Ryan was my second camera, and he's like, I haven't even read the script. And then he became the DP because really COVID hit my set, knocked out half my people.
wow, that was another question I was going to ask. So this was not
crazy.
This wasn't 20. What year?
No, it was
Just last year?
just this last
Just
year.
this last
Yeah,
year?
it was just this last year.
Wow.
So
You
it
got a
wasn't
wave.
like people were. Yeah, we just got a wave, and Eric started it. Honestly, Eric started it.
Eric.
It was so. And then Ryan just shot the rest of the film using the same design that Eric had planned and given and created. And then he brought on a friend, Michael Saylor, who was so fun. Michael was the cameraman who would sit up on the hood of the car and shoot down. I mean, he was
Saylor's amazing.
He was so ready to be.
He actually works
Anywhere.
with the company I work with.
Oh, does he?
When we go shoot.
Oh my gosh. I loved Michael.
They'll hire him.
I
and
loved
he's-
Ryan too.
Yeah, I love Sailor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It wasn't good that Eric wasn't the guy. I got it all up here. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
goes away in 4 days.
Oh my
That'd be
gosh.
terrible.
That
Yep.
would have been awful.
Would be.
But did you take anything from your first go round as a director into this that you were able to save a step or handle things more calmly?
Yeah, I took my total ignorance straight from my first film into my next one.
Yeah, that's on you. You picked a new genre.
I'm telling you, I write the script, and so then I have a way, that I see it in my head, and then
I get COVID and my
and then-
assistant director.
Mm-hmm, yep.
and then that's how I want to, I want to be the one that says this is what happens next, and this is what happens here, and it doesn't always happen the way that you think, and then there's a discussion with your DP, and there's, I did have one of my girlfriends, I flew her in from Texas, and she said to me, she says, you're really good at this directing thing because you listen to what everybody else says. And I'm like, well, I have to because they all know more about what's happening than I do. And that's the truth.
That's wise, actually.
That's the truth. I don't know anything about the equipment. I don't know anything about the angles. I don't know. I know what I want to have happen on set. That's what I know. I kind of have an idea of how I want it to look, you know. But I really do just kind of go and say, okay, this is what's going to happen, and you shoot it.
I have a comparable story.
So-
Mel Brooks writes the musical of The Producers, but he just kind of sits down and he goes, that that wonderful face, right? Then other people write the notes on the staff that are the music, but he just knows how it wants to go. So sometimes, you know, he doesn't have to know how to write music, but he still wrote a song.
Sings it and
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, speaking of songs, you write, you direct, you co-produce, you star, and then you did a song for the movie.
Yeah.
That plays in the movie and plays again at the end.
Yeah.
So what was that all about? And then I looked up on your IMDb, and of course there's like a music video. So like you're a singer. This is a whole thing of you I don't even know. Explain yourself, Olivia Dunkley.
Well, here's the thing. I'm actually terrified of singing in front of anybody, but to record is really fun, and I love to write music. So I've written a lot of music, and I actually wrote more music and then couldn't use it in the film. So I have some other Christmas songs that I am looking forward to putting in future films. But music creation is the funnest creation process. You start with an idea and you get the melody and you get the chorus and then you have the words and then you go to someone and they start creating music to it and it just gets better and better and better and better. And at the end you're like, this was so fun. It's not like a movie at all where you like write a script and then you're like start spending all your money and time buying costumes and finding locations and getting all this stuff and the actors and you don't know how to do it and all these things and then you shoot for 12 hours every day for 2.5 weeks and you're exhausted and then in the end you finally have a movie. It's a very different
wise choice as well. For this song, at least the one in the end credits, you're starting with a famous song.
Yes.
And then kind of tweaking it a little bit. So that's good too.
Yeah,
so
it was fun. It was fun.
So you had no festival run for this.
Not.
So how did Gravitas Ventures, who will be releasing the film, oh boy, you name it, it's going to be there. Apple, Prime, Fandango at Home, YouTube, Google Play, Vimeo, as well as cable VOD through Spectrum, Comcast, Infinity, Dish, and more. So it's on you if you miss it. But so how do you get their attention then without the festivals?
So I do that through Christy Kildare. She owns KO Creative, and she helped finish A Holiday Boyfriend, my first film, and then her mother called me. I told this story with the first one, but her mother called me after she watched A Holiday Boyfriend, and she said, you should talk to my daughter about distribution. And I said, okay. You know, I don't know anything about anything at that point. I don't know why I even made a movie. Anyway, and she said, you should talk to my daughter. And so it just turns out that she had a deal with another distributor that that she finished a lot of their stuff and then she could send them any movies that she wanted. And so she sent them A Holiday Boyfriend and we got this great deal and we got it out, you know, right before Christmas and everything just went perfectly. And I'd said to her mother, I said, with finishing the film, I'd said, I only have this much money. And she's like, we can do it for that. She says, we're here to support female filmmakers. She says, we have big budgets and we have small budgets. So if that's what you can afford, then we can do it for that. And so I became a lifelong loyal of KO Creative. And Christy has answered tax questions. And she's just been like a real mentor to me. And so she works as my sales rep. So she started pitching the film. We were trying to get it out for Christmas. And when the film wasn't finished, and we started pitching it, hoping that we would get it finished in time, and it just didn't get finished in time. So Gravitas actually said, we'll take it, but we're not going to distribute it till March. And then that didn't make any sense. And so then we were like, well, why not, let's shoot for Christmas in July, something at least that there's, that's a thing. And so we pitched it again, and we interestingly enough had another company in the UK say they wanted to buy it outright, and Gravitas saying that they wanted to have it out in October. And both of these things happened at the same time. And I gave the UK company my number, and then they did not get back to me. And so I was like,
Mitch.
I was
sorry.
So
I
then
started
what?
that.
Yeah.
And they came back, after we'd gotten the contracts from Gravitas, they were like, are we too late, or can we still make an offer? We're like, oh, you can do it if you do it fast. And then they didn't do it fast. And I didn't dare wait for them. So we just went ahead with Gravitas. It was, a familiar format for me. It was a good deal. I was happy with how the contracts ended up. And so then I was like, this is a good place. I didn't want to wait and have them come back and be like, we'll give you $100,000 for your movie. And I'd be like, sorry, I'm not selling it to you for that. So anyway.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because, they seem super friendly. I know a lot of friends who get their movies through Gravitas.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
Christy says she works with them a lot.
KO Creative.
KO Creative.
They live up to their name because they do the post, right?
Yeah, they do.
And then they're doing the distribution.
And they're doing the
That's cool.
distribution.
So it's all the creative stuff they handle.
Yeah.
Well, I think I just said it. Apple, Prime, Fandango, at home, you name it, all they play. What's the date? What are we looking for? When
so it comes out October 22nd.
Okay.
That's when it's released. Yeah, we'll be able to see it on TV. But if you are going to watch it, if you're going to buy it, we are doing pre-orders right now. And pre-orders are super important for us because it will determine our placement on Apple when it is released. So it will determine if we're at the very bottom of their recommendations or if we're at the very top of the recommendation. So if you're thinking that, hey, this is probably something that I'm interested in and I'd like to watch, please pre-order the film. Please pre-order. Because then, everybody knows. First page, you make money. In the last page, nobody knows you're there. So anyway, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, we're going to put your info up on the screen. And then, of course, all the posts we put out to promote this will be right there. So if you're watching this, if you got through to this audio or video interview through a link, go back to that link and see, and then you're like, hey, I want to check it out. That's how we'll put that sort of info up through there. Boy, I'm looking for Tess's name on IMDb, and I don't see it. You don't know her name. They don't know her name. No one knows her name.
I'm so
I don't know her name either. I'm so sorry.
You weren't there for post.
I wasn't.
Yeah, and that was on purpose.
I was. But honestly, when
you might not want to say that.
I know, because all of my communication is through Christy. So Christy is very protective of her team, which makes perfect sense. So Christy communicates with Tess for me.
Right.
But I have met Tess a couple of times, giving her hard drives and different things like that. But it's never like, we're not like on a last name, basis. Of course, she probably knows my last name, but she watches a lot of my movies.
It is listed here as KO Creative, so I guess that's just what the deal is.
Yeah.
So check them out for if you need a movie made, right?
Oh,
you would promote them.
I would absolutely.
High thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Now, last time you were here, I always ask the worst question of all time. What is your favorite movie of all time? It's the greatest and worst question that there is. And you said, Olivia, The Notebook and Marvel's The Avengers. Now, first of all, you can't, everybody cheats. You didn't list, you gave me 2. But that's what some people give me 5, some people give me their favorite movie right now. There's no wrong way to do it. And so you gave me 2. And I just want to check in with you again. Is it still there? Has anything come up? Because since Avengers at that time was only like 7 years old, now it's, there's been more time. Since then, I think 5 more years, maybe something new popped up. Or are we looking at The Notebook and Marvel's The Avengers? Rest in peace. What's her name? Who played the mom? And Gina Rollins.
I still think the original Avengers is one of the best films for sure. Absolutely love. I told you about that moment where I was like, they all line up for the final battle, and you're just like, ah. Anyway, and then The Notebook. I don't know how you ever beat The Notebook. Did you ever beat The Notebook?
It depends on who you ask.
If I made a movie called A Comedy Boyfriend, it would be Ryan Gosling. There's more romance, charming in The Notebook, but as a comedy boyfriend, nice guys, Barbie,
Stuntman that just came out,
the Fall Guy,
or
all these movies.
Fall Guy. That's the one.
Fall Guy.
Fall
okay,
Guys.
so I haven't seen all these. So I had 2 babies,
Gosling.
so I haven't seen movies in 2.5 years. So
right.
That's no excuse.
Well, the Ryan Gosling.
I'm telling you.
You're like
2 babies. Yeah.
Wait, how old are they now?
2.5 and 10 months.
Oh, you're going to be seeing movies. Trust me. You're going to be like, Finding Nemo again.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm watching every day. I'm like, not this
that
one
will become
again.
your favorite movie.
Yeah, don't worry, we're there.
All right, Mitch, favorite movie of all time?
Oh, am I allowed to cheat and give 2?
I did.
You're direct. Follow your director.
All right. Well, it's always Lord of the Rings. I know it's 20 plus years old now, but still.
So all 3, just you're counting as a thing?
All 3, like the most epic trilogy, but probably the Two Towers extended edition.
Wait a minute. Have you heard of a little thing called Star Wars?
Listen, Star Wars is amazing. I love
trilogy.
Star Wars. If I could list my top 10, Star Wars would be in there.
Basically, what's your favorite movie of all time? As a general question, just infers besides Star Wars.
Yes.
But when you mention trilogy, I got to step in. Because
True.
Star Wars is another level,
That's
Star Wars
the
another
battle,
level.
right? Yeah, Star Wars is still amazing. It will hold up always. And the original, I like the prequels that came out. They're a lot of fun, but the originals always take the cake for me.
I agree.
Recently, probably Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Ooh, great
Just
movie.
Blew me away, and every time I watch it, it always gets me at the end. No matter how many times I watch it, I tear up, and I'm like, "Why?" I've seen this like 5 times, and every time I start tearing up at
I've
the end.
never seen this
And
movie.
you got to tear up in the middle
Everything
too for
Everywhere.
The middle, yeah, the whole,
Quan, his whole monologue.
yeah.
I mean,
it is
incredible performance.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can't
I'm gonna have
even
to watch this movie.
I can't
Best
even.
picture from like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's not to be
Okay.
missed.
Absolutely amazing.
All right.
It's great. The kids are
2
done.
years
You
ago.
get more kids.
No more kids.
Okay, well then you got
We're-
time.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything.
It's on
all at
Apple,
once.
so or HBO Apple. It's on a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on a
I have
few.
one of those out there.
Awesome.
And I'll ask. So before we go, what are you working on now? What is Schmafty Films? Is this your
Schmafty Films
This
is my
your
company.
new
That's my
logo?
production company.
Okay.
Yes. Schmafty Films. So my husband makes up a lot of words. He speaks gibberish like a professional. I'm not kidding. It's really quite
Is he
inventive. I don't know.
a baby or?
He's not. But
Okay,
I
he's
have
an adult.
To say,
He's a grown adult. Okay.
I was like, now you can communicate with the kids like on a whole new level. He really is. So he used to call me Schmafty all the time. He's like, "You're so Schmafty," and I'd be like, "Thank you," because
Why
it's
not?
not a word. So then I just make it mean whatever I want to.
Assume it's great.
So anyway, because I take everything so seriously, I was like, "Yeah, Schmafty Films," and then created a logo, thinking that I was going to do all happy films for the rest of my filmmaking experience, and then my second film already not the case. But anyway, so. Yeah, that's me.
And what's
Schmafty.
next?
So, my next film.
Sure, if there's
or
one
my
brewing.
There's
spill.
not one brewing
okay.
yet, so we have to make the money back on this one, and then enough money for
right.
the next one.
Once again, I put that info out there for the pre-order. So.
Yeah, that's kind of how that works. Because got everything we got, and I've got everything I've got into this movie right now. So. But I do know what the next project is. And interestingly enough, my friend Robert Griffith, before he died, he called me up one day and he said, "Hi." And he said, "Hi." And he says, "I have an idea for a movie." And I was like, oh, really? And he goes, "Yeah, you know how I told you an idea for my movie and then you made that movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know how that happened." And he goes, "So I have an idea for another movie." And then he told me his idea for this movie. And I was like, dang, I have to make that movie. So this will be another homage, I guess, to Robert Griffith, who left me another great idea for a movie. So
Are you allowed to say what?
I am not saying what. It's such a good idea for a movie that I would not give it away. It really is. It's.
Did he leave any journals behind? 'Cause there might be like a whole career's worth of movies in there.
Honestly, it was just so interesting. He just called me up and we had this conversation, and I have other things that I've been writing and working on, and that I will eventually get to, but this will be my next one. He really high sell value. So I'm in the movie industry to make movies that make money. I'm not out there to recreate the wheel or be creative or get my pet project. I'm not doing any of that shit. I am like, what will make money? And what will get out as easily as possible. And when you go to somebody and you say holiday romance, they know what it is. And when you say holiday horror, they know exactly what it is. This one will be a little bit harder, but it will be an action film. And when you tell people the premise, everybody likes it. It's a very creative.
So you're telling other people the premise.
I'm telling.
You're not telling Mitch.
I have told
No
my
Santa killers in
family while I was home this last weekend. My brother got married, so I told my family the idea, and they were all like, "Oh, I really like that."
You'll keep jumping genres?
This will be another romance.
Oh, okay.
This will be another romance.
Cool. What are you working on? So
Right now, I just got out of a contract with the theater, but right now I'm in between jobs looking. So nothing crazy right now. Doing my own personal stuff. I do music as well, so working on that, and building up a reel to audition for some more stuff, and this release will hopefully help me
Yes.
start throwing things on the reel and being
I
like,
can't-
all right, I'm ready.
I can't imagine that it wouldn't. I can't imagine anybody watching Mitch's performance in this and not being like, oh, yeah.
Oh, he's
that
crazy.
guy."
Perfect.
Well, I mean, I hate to tell you, you'll probably be niched out, right? Like now everybody's going to want you to
Be
play
like,
this.
the horror guy.
This guy.
Yeah.
But
Well, you know what?
honestly, he's...
This was it. I was like, you know what? If I play horror villain,
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I
Don't
wouldn't
feel
mind.
bad about it
I
that at
wouldn't
all.
mind.
Just
I
let
wouldn't
people
mind.
call you up and be like, hey, you want to play this crazy guy? Be like, yes.
Yep.
And
I'll
you'll
do it.
pay me how much? And then just do it.
200 million.
If only.
Well, we got Silent Night, Deadly Night, right? That was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Killer Santa.
Yeah.
Violent Night. He was like a hero. That was the recent David Harbour one,
Yes,
wasn't
yes.
it? Yeah.
I still need to see that one. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
see
fun.
it.
He's a fun Santa. And the bad Santa,
Well,
of course.
I love him in Stranger Things.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And he'll be in the new Thunderbolts. He's, of course, if you saw Black Widow, he's Yelena.
Right.
Red Guardian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, and then Bad Santa, of course, Billy Bob Thornton, classic crappy Santa. So you are now in the vaunted hall,
the League of Crazy
Right.
Santas.
of Crazy Santas.
All right.
Yes.
Giddy
And that
up.
one day that's a movie, right? Like
Yeah.
Suicide Squad or something at the League
True.
of Crazy Santas.
That's true.
League of
I'll look
Crazy
forward to that. In 20 years, I'll be like, hey.
Mel Gibson played Santa
should.
recently, right? If you remember that, right? It was
That's
super
true.
indie,
That's
but yeah.
true. That's true.
But all right, so before we go, thank you both, Mitch and Olivia, and give us any personal plugs or anything else you want to say. Is there a social for the movie, social personally?
So there is an Instagram for the movie, but don't go there because Robert Griffith started it and I can't get into it. Because he did not send me the information. So he passed before I got that information. So if you go to at Olivia Dunkley B, I know, right? I'm posting on my Instagram. There is a Facebook group. If
Oh,
you'd
what's
love
your
to join the
Instagram?
Facebook group? Mine is Olivia Dunkley B.
Okay.
And yeah, you can find all of the information there. And then there is a Facebook group, Sleigh Ride Movie. Feel free to come and like or join. We'd love to have you. And then, that's
For me, Mitchell Gene _Gene on Instagram, and then I got a TikTok account that I goof around with. It's Genie Man, GenieMan.
He's big on TikTok.
You got Genie Man?
Yeah.
Seems like that would have been taken.
I did. I
for
thought
you.
it would when I put
Nice
it in a few years ago. I was like, oh, there it goes. All right, I'm Genie Man, and it started out as mainly just comedy sketches about religion because I just left High Demand Religion, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this for just like my
We're
skits.
from the same religion. Yeah. We're both dropouts. We're both dropouts.
We're
of the same
dropouts.
religion.
We're cast outs. We're the
Dropouts,
black sheep.
Utah. I can put it together.
Yes.
Scientology.
Of course, naturally. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here in Hollywood. If you're looking to switch, they'll have you.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and then your IMDb page, you said to check out and see that
Yes.
you've done music videos, like I learned
Yes,
today. So you're
IMDb
learning new
page.
stuff all the time. And check out themovieguys.net for more interviews with filmmakers, hundreds of podcast episodes, articles, reviews, and more. October 22nd, Sleigh Ride. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.